is not really a magazine. Evie is a front. It is a billionaire-backed front for a massive anti-birth control propaganda campaign that includes a period tracking app where they're collecting women's data.
Evie magazine is the most dangerous magazine in the world right now. There's so much misinformation, I don't know where to start. The left is actually on the wrong side of history when it comes to contraception. And it's gonna be hilarious to watch them have to pivot and be like, we care about women's health. By the way, these people won't even define what a woman is. So how seriously can we take them? When I look at Hannah's content, I look at it as a relief to be able to see the beauty in what she produces, because I'm tired of being force-fed ugliness by mainstream media, and American women are tired of being fed media slop. They want better for themselves. Welcome back to the Femcast. If you're new here, I'm Allie, a family-oriented cultural commentator. And if you're old here, I just want to take the time to thank you from the bottom of my heart for sticking by me in the channel through the years as my life and my content have changed. I could not be more grateful to you guys and the community that you've built. And you might think that because you're not behind a camera, you're not important. And I'm here to tell you that you are the most important one. We couldn't have this community without your guys' thoughtful commentary, and you do more than just show up. You're doing more than hitting the like button, the follow button, and the subscribe button. You're thoughtfully engaging with discussions when we talk about femininity, masculinity, religion, culture, and politics. And it's been truly humbling to be on the receiving end of that as a content creator. I don't deserve that. I don't deserve it, but I'm grateful for it. And you know what? I figure the least I can do is give you some entertaining and thought-provoking content. Today, we have something special. We're going to do a deep dive video essay on the left's problem with Ballerina Farm and Evie magazine. And really, what this petty beef, this petty squabble comes down to is that the left hates beauty. They just do. And the reason why they hate beauty is because beauty is a judge. In order for something to be beautiful, that would mean that ugly would have to exist. Beautiful and ugly exist as adjectives in tandem and in opposition to one another in a value hierarchy. In order for an individual to call a person, place, or thing beautiful or ugly, they would have to make a judgment call. And this simply will not do for the leftist Marxist mind. They cannot handle it that somebody would have the audacity, the nerve, the gall to say so-and-so is ugly, this building is ugly, so-and-so is smoking hot, and this building is gorgeous, this artwork is gorgeous, modern art is trash. They can't take it because it would become pretty apparent that the bar for beauty with them is low. If it's even there. Is the bar in hell? The bar's in hell. It's below hell, right? So if you like this content, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, subscribe down below, and hit the notification bell. And if you're a conservative male and you're watching this and you think there's nothing here for you, I would encourage you to keep watching, because you are gonna get up to speed on the current pop culture for conservative women like you wouldn't believe. What we have available in terms of content and art to consume as conservative women in 2024 is truly mind-blowing to reflect on. We have content that promotes marriage, motherhood, family, masculinity, and femininity. And on top of that, now we have women's magazines that are catered special to us, that are not this gross, degenerate, hedonistic slop that is being force-fed to us. We have options now. That's the beauty of capitalism. So it's going to give you some insight into the women in your lives if you're a male and you're watching, your sisters, wives, daughters, granddaughters, and maybe it'll inspire you for some gifts this Christmas season or next year. And if I hooked you up, send me an email, let me know, because I want to hear about how it inspired your wonderful gift purchases for the women in your life. By the way, you still have time to get Evie's current print issue. This is not the current print issue. This is their last print issue. I gotta say, very thick, very lovely, beautiful, inspiring coffee table reading. However, they've got a new one, and it's got Hannah Nealman on it and Ballerina Farm, and it is so culturally relevant and taking the world by storm. I highly recommend surprising the women in your life with it. And this is not a paid promotion. I am just an Evie stan. All right, let's get into this cultural battle. But before we get into that, I gotta tell you who the key players are. They are are Ballerina Farm, Evie Magazine, disgruntled feminist TikTokers. You guys are going to love them. Mainstream media, and you and I, because we're going to share what we think and why we think it in the comment section. To start off with, I have to explain the current ideological conflict that is truly at hand. Ballerina Farm and Evie are both categorized as symbols of modern right-wing ideology. I myself am a proud right-wing commentator, but when you hear right-wing, you might find yourself immediately jumping to switch that verbiage out for far-right, because that is what the mainstream media calls it, to exaggerate the system of beliefs and paint it as a nutty, unhinged extremist paradigm alongside its followers. The truth is, there is quite a spectrum of thought among the American right at this point in time. We can see that with the current ideological, cultural, and ethnic diversity of the new Republican Party. I'm sure you can all reflect on the last RNC, the Republican National Convention, going unusually viral compared to its past conventions because of how appealing it has become to your average American. That was unheard of until the last election cycle. Since when has it been cool to be Republican? This is a new thing. This is a vibe shift. America is vibing. The RNC was the place to be in 2024, and if you weren't there, you were missing some great things bigly. I mean, so many clips came out of that. So much commentary came out of that. The left was talking about it. The right was talking about it. It was what appeared to be a really good time, a thoughtful time, an engaging time, and I'm sad I wasn't there. If you went there, let us know what you thought about it down below. At the core of right-wing ideology is acknowledging the existence of hierarchies, while the left seeks to destroy traditional hierarchies. These hierarchies may or may not include religious influence. The right acknowledges the following familiar hierarchies: product quality, competency, family structure, business success, financial status, social status, beauty, fitness, and nutrition. Good and bad metrics and standards can be applied to the above mentioned topics. To illustrate, people, places, and things can be beautiful or ugly. Medicine can be practiced poorly or comprehensively. Women on the right may prefer to be led by men who are smarter, well-earning, stronger, or bigger than them, and may be put off by men who are dumber, earn little, are weaker, or smaller than them. Right-wingers may prefer hiring someone well-known and competent for a task over an unproven rookie. Left-wing ideology seeks to destroy traditional hierarchies because their existence poses an issue for egalitarianism and equity. They want no hierarchies to preserve the primacy of inclusivity. To have a hierarchy means some will not make the cut, so to speak. However, what the left gets wrong about the right is that if someone is looking to excel out of their current social strata, a right-winger is more than happy to show them the steps to get there. Right-wingers love the concept of meritocratic betterment and mentorship. The left would know this if they ever interacted with any right-wingers. Acknowledging the existence of hierarchies is a threat to left-wing ideology, and Ballerina Farm and Evie Magazine are a threat due to their influence and inspirational allure, which draws women from all walks of life. That's the problem, that conservative women, liberal women, and independent women all want to look at and talk about and engage with Ballerina Farm and Evie Magazine. To show you guys what these people are freaking out about, we're gonna play the first 30 seconds of Evie's editorial video that they did with Hannah Nealman. I'm biased about this editorial and how awesome I think it is because I love cows. I do. From the bottom of my heart, I love looking at them. I love petting them, and I love steak. So medium rare, by the way. I am a civilized right-wing woman. Back to the conflict. We're going to talk about Hannah Nealman and Ballerina Farm for those of you that are unfamiliar. Hannah Nealman from Ballerina Farm is married to JetBlue heir Daniel Nealman. Both are Mormon. Hannah left a life of ballet to pursue ranching, influencing, and being a stay-at-home mother to 8. However, she made the mistake of going on this journey publicly while being stunningly gorgeous. That is her sin, being a beautiful, petite, blonde, white woman. The problem with Ballerina Farm is not so much that the brand acknowledges hierarchies, but that Hannah Nealman is at the top of several hierarchies. Wealth, beauty, homemaking, motherhood, domestic engineering, influencing, just everything. She is Superwoman. She is the archetype that should not be able to exist as it is too perfect, but she does. Hannah is real. She's not a character written into a film or novel. She breathes air, eats food, gives birth, and puts pants on one leg at a time, just like other women. No doubt, Hannah lives this life with the support of her husband's finances, but Hannah is a feat to be admired and radicalizes women simply by existing. It's important to be mindful that Hannah was successful in her own right before marriage, as she was a Juilliard-trained ballerina, and Juilliard is very hard to get into. So she was crushing the game before she even had that ring on. Since getting married, ranching, and being a mom to multiples, she competed in Mrs. World 2 weeks postpartum after her win as the 2023 Mrs. American. This understandably makes some women uncomfortable because she's a living superwoman. But the correct answer is to be inspired by her and not seek to hate yourself for failing to live up to the Hannah Nealman standard. Almost none of us will, and that's okay. We can still be the best and healthiest versions of ourselves without trying to fit into a Hannah Nealman mold that Hannah isn't even trying to convince us to fit into. It can be intimidating for women to look at the achievements of Hannah Nealman and what all she's done as a woman, wife, and mother, but it's important to remember that comparison is the thief of joy. We're living different lives with different values, different marriages, different goals. When I look at Hannah's content, I look at it as a relief to be able to see the beauty in what she produces, because I'm tired of being force-fed ugliness by mainstream media. I want some joy in my life, and Hannah is providing that, and we're enjoying it. She has millions of followers. It can't be because we don't like looking at her stuff. We love looking at her stuff, and I hope she keeps making more. Hannah and Daniel being Mormon intimidates the left because they are thriving as a white couple who follow a Christian religion that strongly promotes hierarchies. They make Mormonism and whiteness look appealing. I would love to say race doesn't matter here in this cultural battle, because Hannah inspires plenty of ethnically minority women like myself, but it does matter that they are white, because the left is still fundamentally anti-white and believes anyone who is not overtly critical of whiteness is a white supremacist. Hannah and Daniel would understandably have a problem being anti-white, given they are a white family of 10, and it would be unwise to promote a self-deprecating identity in their marriage and family. Keep in mind that right-wing ideology is not necessarily pro-white. More specifically, it is anti-white and acknowledges the success of European cultures. Right-wing ideology is more meritocratic than anything else and regularly champions ethnic minorities who have admirable achievements, such as Thomas Sowell, Candace Owens, Anna Paulina Luna. The more significant theme of right-wing ideology is that you are judged on your achievements rather than your identity. If you don't believe me, I recommend you check out the viral clips from this last RNC for a fresh reminder. And here's why Evie magazine is the most dangerous magazine in the world right now. Evie is a threat to left-wing media and ideology because it provides an alternative to the standard anti-natalist, girl boss, man-hating, gender-affirming slop being doled out to the female masses. And American women are tired of being fed media slop. They want better for themselves. You may think women's magazines are unimportant, but let me tell you, boomer women loved them and would grab a copy at grocery store checkouts and have their informed opinions for magazines, or what they thought were informed opinions. Women want to get girl banter wherever they can find it. The only problem was, before 2019, there was no conservative women's magazine. Cue Evie. And they are doing it well. Every mainstream outlet in the world is talking about Evie. The New York Times, Rolling Stone, Marie Claire, Vanity Fair, and others. Their social media metrics have surpassed Cosmo and every competitor, only performing second to Vogue, likely due to a difference in content, as Vogue is a fashion magazine and Evie is not. Evie is a comprehensive women's magazine that can include fashion, but also includes topics on dating, health, wellness, fertility, and culture. They started with 0 followers as a startup in LA and currently hold an audience firmly split as 1/3 liberal, 1/3 conservative, and 1/3 independent. They are indisputably the modern women's magazine. But unfortunately for the left, it was founded by a lovely young Catholic family, Gabriel and Brittany Hugoboom. This threatens the left because Gabriel and Brittany are inspiring. They have a thriving independent magazine, a women's fitness app. They're beautiful. Brittany herself has a history of modeling, and they're religious. And we already know we can't have any of that joy, beauty, religiosity, and success out there because it might appeal to women and get them to question the validity of far-left ideology. It's too pronatalist for Brittany and Gabe to be successful entrepreneurs with multiple small children, given so many celebrity women are propagating the narrative that family would hold them back when it's done the opposite for the Hugo Booms. It has wildly propelled them and focused the pair as an entrepreneurial couple. With too gleaming of a resume, it was only natural that the left would accuse Evie magazine of publishing conspiracy theories, as they've done for any dissident opinion of high-profile persons, businesses, and publications. Evie is the only women's magazine that keeps women abreast of politics. Proof of this was their early questioning of the Pfizer mRNA medication and birth control. I have to call it the Pfizer mRNA medication for the YouTube overlords, if you catch my drift. This drew much ire from the left and was branded as misinformation. We know now the risks of the Pfizer mRNA medication and the consequences of its mass administration. But Evie was the only women's publication bold enough to send stories alleging these claims to print. Evie believed women first when they said the mRNA medication might have impacted their cycles, and forever solidified themselves as giving women's health concerns priority, even when deemed unpopular or taboo. It has since been proven that this medication does affect women's fertility. Evie even went against the conservative grain in questioning birth control as well. People forget how supportive American conservatives were of Big Pharma before the pandemic. Evie was wiser and more critical of the hormonal intervention of women's ovulation. The left believes this is supportive of a breeding kink and a pro-natalist agenda, when the reality is every single birth control medication comes with inserts that state the risks of using hormonal or non-hormonal birth control. Evie published these known risks openly for all women to see when no mainstream media outlet wanted to cover the topic. It is my prediction that the left-wing media will share these risks shortly as more and more women, conservative, liberal, and independent alike, abandon the pill. The left is actually on the wrong side of history when it comes to contraception. And it's going to be hilarious to watch them have to pivot and be like, we care about women's health. By the way, these people won't even define what a woman is. So how seriously can we take them? The official Evie stance on birth control is they are highly in favor of a woman's right to choose to take birth control or refrain from doing so, but demand women be given comprehensive information so they can provide informed consent. They are for the woman's right to make a comprehensive decision regarding her fertility and assert that many women to date have been prescribed hormonal and non-hormonal contraception without having given proper informed consent. And I 100% agree with that. It is very strange that Big Pharma's response to teen girls complaining about acne, which is a normal occurrence as you go through puberty, it is insane that the response to that was, let's just stop your ovulation. We'll turn it off. It's fine. You don't need those eggs. You don't need to be fertile. What could possibly go wrong? A lot of women have been harmed by this rampant use of hormonal contraception and even non-hormonal. For example, a non-hormonal contraception is a copper IUD. Some women prefer it, love it, enjoy it. No disrespect to y'all. I am saying though that it still poses a risk of perforating the uterus. That is not misinformation. It's 100% true. I'm not saying it's common. I'm saying it's a risk. And then when it comes to hormonal birth control, my goodness, when you look at the trials that were conducted, there were a lot of women who were permanently sterilized from the trials. Enough about birth control. We're done with it. We're over it. We're breaking up with it. We realize it's a scam. And that is not a breeding kink. We're not trying to get a bunch of women knocked up without their consent or anything like that. By the way, it is completely healthy and normal for a young woman and a young man to want to reproduce. That's a completely healthy behavior in mammals. I don't know if the left realizes that. It's actually unhealthy to have a desire to sterilize yourself. But moving on about why I support Evie. I am hugely supportive of Evie because when it comes to the culture war, I think that conservatives do a lot of unjust complaining. You cannot complain about the state of dominant leftist art today without making an effort to put out your art, and Evie does that. They're fighting the culture war by producing this women's magazine. On top of that, Evie is a fighter in 5th gen warfare, which I believe is a modern battle of psyops and misinformation. We are fighting a propaganda war fraught with misinformation, where even the truth is indistinguishable right now, and Evie takes a firm, solid stance on truth. And aside from championing truth, Evie has done so much more. These people have delivered. Let's talk about what all they've done. Evie developed a sundress for their audience with a highly coveted design of a built-in bra. Brittany regularly checked in with her audience to ask them what their desires were for the sundress and produced something stunning. Sadly, on social media, per usual, conservatives were critical of this endeavor, which was another incredible demonstration of their inability to support fellow conservatives fighting the good fight. Not a good look, guys. Not a good look. What matters is that we put dollars toward cultural movements in our favor, and supporting Evie does that. Anyway, the dress was cute. I bought it. This is mine. I would model it for you guys, but I am pregnant and I don't fit into it right now. However, there's so much consideration in the design. It has a built-in bra that clasps in the back. There's a bow to tie in the front. There's frills along the top edge and on the straps, and the way that it's cut on the bottom as well is very flattering. They have a slip underneath. It has everything that you would want a sundress to have. And Brittany took the time to survey her supporters and ask what they were looking for in the perfect sundress, and she delivered. That is what I love about Evie. They do what they say they're gonna do, and on top of that, they've expanded their passion for women's health into an app called 28 Wellness. 28 Wellness is a pioneering app in women's fitness, focusing on syncing physical activities and nutritional guidance with the natural biological rhythms of the female body, providing a holistic approach to wellness. Basically, you get to learn how to eat and work out like a model. Results may vary, but don't knock it until you try it. I highly recommend the app to women not looking for high impact workouts. 28 Wellness isn't designed to get you jacked, but it is designed to get you healthy. Wrapping up our analysis of Evie, it's essential to understand that although it is considered a conservative women's magazine, it aims to appeal to women from all walks of life who love freedom and family or are curious about these two spheres. If you're a liberal woman watching this, I think you would be pleasantly surprised by their content and should give it a shot, especially if you're interested in women's health and fertility. Also, while Evie gets claims from critics about being a Christian magazine, it is not factually a Christian magazine. It is simply not critical of Christians and does maintain a readership of a variety of faiths. The founders do not seem to have an interest in apologetics or evangelizing, as that is not the goal of the publication. It is meant to be a wholesome women's magazine to offer an alternative to current degenerate slop mags. To be clear, I said slop mags. I just have a lisp. Now let's react to some psycho feminist TikToks, because these chicks have lost their mind, and that's putting it lightly.
Hey, remember earlier this year when a lot of us, myself included, were talking about how the tradwife movement was emblematic of the conservative ideology writ large? And a whole bunch of people were like, you're projecting, you don't know anything about these people. It's just pictures of women in milkmaid dresses milking their cows. And then that Times profile came out about the Nealman family, and Hannah Nealman was like, I don't know what feminism is. And they were like, we don't believe in abortion. And a whole group of people were like, it was a hit piece. They're just a nice family. And then it came out that Nara Smith's husband was deep in Christian nationalism, and everyone was like, they're just a happy family. Well, now Hannah Nealman is the cover girl for the bullshit Christian nationalist magazine parading as a women's magazine called Evie. Let me guess. They're just a nice family who like to farm. I think that there will be people making that argument when Daniel Nealman runs for president. Don't go after them. They're just a nice family. There's nothing there. No reason for discourse. You're just jealous.
Okay, first of all, I would love it if Daniel Nealman ran for president. All right, straight up. What? Are you kidding me right now? This guy is killing the game, and it's not just because he's a JetBlue Air. They are successful influencers. They have multiple, what appear to be healthy children, a healthy marriage. He's got a beautiful wife. You're talking about, I'm supposed to be upset that Daniel Nealman might run for president. Why didn't he run sooner? You don't have to convince me. By the way, bringing up the fact that this is a white supremacy movement, whatever, and bringing up Nara Smith's husband as being a Christian nationalist, where do these women ever bring up the fact that Nara Smith is black? She's mixed, but she's black, and you can tell that she's black, and she wears braids sometimes. Sure, she'll straighten her hair, style it differently, but it blows my mind how crazy these allegations get when it comes to white supremacy. I have seen seen a Brazilian wife married to a black man be accused of white supremacy. I have seen some of my girlfriends who are content creators who are black be called white supremacists because they believe in traditional values. By the way, I'm Puerto Rican, if that, matters. To add to the stupidity of this assertion, I'm Latina. And you know what? Brittany Hugo Boom is Latina as well. Her maiden name is Brittany Martinez, for those of you that are unfamiliar. But yeah, they just don't miss, do they? And let's talk about this TikToker, Carol Claire Burke, who wrote a thriller novel that's going to be made into a movie starring Anne Hathaway, allegedly based on Ballerina Farm. Anne Hathaway is set to play an alleged Hannah Nealman character who is teleported to 1805 and has to do all her chores in a technologically archaic context. These people hate stay-at-home wives who have babies and bake bread, just so we're clear. I don't understand where they get off saying like it's terrible that you idolize these chores, and if you had to do them in the proper context then you would hate these chores. You think we don't know we have appliances? You think we don't know we have air fryers? You think we don't know we have washing machines? You think we don't know we have it good? We got Roombas, air conditioning, Wi-Fi. Why do you think we like staying home? There's never been a better time to be a stay-at-home wife. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Come on. And I would like to go back to that Christian nationalism point that she made when it came to Nara Smith's husband. It seems like the left was fine with the push for secular nationalism, which I believe has taken a religious front. I believe wokeism was a religion in a sense. So it's fine when they do it, but we can't have Christians in charge of America because, they're probably the worst religion compared to all the other very violent religions. Christians are just the worst, I guess. I don't know. It gets better though. Let's look at TikTok number 2 because I think this one is crazier than the last one.
I ran to make this video when I saw that Ballerina Farm was on the cover of Evie, because Evie is not really a magazine. Evie is a front. Evie is a billionaire-backed front for a massive anti-birth control propaganda campaign that includes a period tracking app where they're collecting women's data. Now, yes, at first glance, if you look at their publication, if you look at the website, it seems like this right-wing, ultra right-wing conservative Christian publication. It has anti-trans rhetoric, all the stuff that you would expect. A lot of stuff on birth control, a lot, and there's a reason for that. So they had an article once that said the symptoms of hormonal birth control are indistinguishable from the symptoms of PTSD. They had another one that said women who use IUDs can sometimes hear voices and drown their newborns. Really wild shit. And they're pumping out article after article after article. And the reason they're doing that is so that when a young woman goes to search for information on birth control, does a Google search, their insane misinformation comes up. Now, in addition to misinformation about birth control, they have this app. And the app uses co-ops feminist rhetoric about listening to your body and it's not all in your head. They're taking advantage of the fact that medical sexism is real and a lot of women suffer because of it. And so they're trying to reach women that way. Now, if you do even a little bit of research on this app, you'll find out that it is funded by Peter Thiel. I'm not going to get into who Peter Thiel is. You can, look to another video for that. But for the purposes of what we're talking about here, not a good guy, very misogynist, once wrote an article that said giving women the vote was bad for democracy. So not exactly the kind of guy you want having your period information. This is why I publish my newsletter. This is why it's so important that we are talking about this stuff, because at first glance, while this may seem like, trad wife is appearing on the cover of a conservative women's publication. No, it is much deeper than that. You are talking about a multi-million-dollar campaign that includes social media influencers to trick young women out of taking birth control in a moment where they could be forced into pregnancy. So this is a really, really big, disturbing deal.
Okay, I'm just gonna try to keep my composure about this heifer. Okay, I'm sorry, I have to call her a heifer. It's nothing to do about beauty or size. It's just I really cannot stand that leftist women want to silence the voices of women who are coming out and speaking against birth control because they've had negative side effects. You know, I have my own personal testimony I would love to share sometime, but I made a conscious choice to not be on contraception because of my mental health, because I noticed a stark difference. And I am one of many women who are like, this doesn't seem right. I think my body would be better off without it. Newsflash, we're correct. Our bodies are off without it. But that entire TikTok is fraught with misinformation that very much could open this person to a lawsuit if they decide not to correct it ever, I guess. So that TikToker is at Auntie Killjoy and has 239.9K followers and a bio that reads, I write about abortion every day. There's so much misinformation, I don't know where to start. But we're going to start with Peter Thiel, who is not funding Evie magazine. And that's misinformation that has had to be retracted already by MSN and Express US. They've already had to pull the story because it's factually false. Peter Thiel did, however, invest in 28 Wellness as a startup company, which 28 Wellness, again, is a fitness and nutrition application for women, and it does have cycle tracking, but investors do not have access to user data. And Brittany and Gabriel Hugoboom could be contacted for further clarification on that. If anyone bothered to contact them, there would be clarification, but that's not what the left does. It's not what legacy media does. By the way, when it comes to period tracking, I don't know where this conspiracy is coming from these leftist women. What are they thinking is going to happen? Is the government trying to impregnate us? Is the government trying to prosecute us for terminating pregnancies? What is the intent behind the government or private companies accessing our data as women? You know what? Let me tell you something. I track my cycle on my iPhone, so Apple knows my cycle. Why does it matter that Apple knows my cycle? I mean, sure, if I cared about my privacy a little bit more, but I prefer natural family planning, so that's what I use my iPhone to do. I'm not married to Apple. I'm not hooking up with Apple. They just have the information, and we've all compromised on our data by having smartphones to begin with or being on social media to begin with. So some other application out there probably already knows about your cycle if you're tracking it at all on your phone or on an app. But this TikToker, these leftist women want to be particularly upset that a conservative company is helping women track their fertility because it's going to be the Handmaid's Tale. It's gonna be the Handmaid's Tale. Don't you know? It's over for us. It's over. These women are so unhinged and dramatic. By the way, Marie Claire still has the misinformation about Peter Thiel published, and you can confirm that linked in the description down below. Now, to the primary controversy of Ballerina Farm being featured in Evie magazine, Brittany Hugoboom did provide a written response through the Washington Post, and I'm going to have that linked in the description for you guys to reflect on as well. So yeah, pretty nutty, huh? That the left would hate femininity, masculinity, family, marriage, motherhood, Christianity, and whiteness to the degree that they do. They just really have a problem with Ballerina Farm, Hannah Nealman, Evie magazine, and Brittany Hugoboom. This is not an unhinged or inappropriate display of aggression at all. But the truth of the matter is that Ballerina Farm and Evie magazine are dangerous, and they are dangerous because they appeal to women from all walks of life, and the left is becoming increasingly unpopular with married women and mothers, and I'm not sure how much longer single women are going to cling on to the Democrat Party because they don't even want to define what a woman is, and so they have no real vested interest or display of protecting women. You can't protect the people you are not willing to define. I would think that that is common sense, but whatever. Well, that is all I have for you guys. That completes our discussion and our video essay. It's been a wild ride. Let me know what you think about Ballerina Farm and Evie magazine in the comment section down below. It doesn't matter if you love them or hate them. If you want to talk about it, we want to hear about it. And I'm very interested to hear what you all are thinking about this stuff, because the way I see it, how could you hate on a beautiful, successful family? They're not beautiful and successful because there's not enough beauty and wealth to go around. They're not taking anything from you by existing. So what's the problem? I mean, in fact, wealthy people create a lot of jobs. That's one aspect to hold. But when it comes to beauty, you know, we're not all going to be blessed genetically. It doesn't mean that I don't want to watch a Victoria's Secret fashion show, well, the old ones, or that I don't want to watch a Miss Universe competition. I want to be awestruck by the glory of God when it comes to making women of differing ethnicities and phenotypes. I'm so interested in seeing the variety and how beautiful a woman can be. And it doesn't make me feel bad at all as a person. That's not gonna be me. I got different genetics. That's okay. I can still be the healthiest and most beautiful version of myself. And I hope that is the mentality you ladies that are watching feel intimidated by some gorgeous women out there. I hope that's the mentality that you're taking in, that you still have the ability, no matter what, to always be the healthiest and most beautiful version of yourself. And you are beautiful the way that God made you. He does not make mistakes. All right, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.